Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yep.
Okay, so uh, we have some people here.
Yeah.
Uh, let's start today's roundtable. Last week, Jim guided us through all the process on how to work with Git and GitHub in a team. This week, I'm presenting a way to make Git work for us, how to how to work with some more advanced commands that they are somewhat destructive too. So let's start. I think that most tools you can achieve much more with them if you add a little bit of configuration over the standard. And with Git, is not the exception. There's a file in Git that you can have a is on your home directory on the .git config file. You can also find it on the .config folder git config. That's where I have my global configuration file. And it will show us all the configurations and improvements I have in my git config that makes me work better with Git. So how we can look at our Git config both locally and globally. So we can, there's a command is git config, and we can say global git config. If you fail, like there's this command I use a lot is tldr, and you can pass git config. So that way I don't see all the man pages, but just a few things that help me work with the git config. So we can say git config here. That's just list global. And here I can see all my configurations that I have globally. You can see all of these. We're going to go through most of these line by line so we can understand it a little bit better. But if we go to a new to a Git repo, you can also do a git config list local. And these are repo specific configurations. What things that I would put on a local configuration versus a global configuration? For example, if I have multiple email addresses associated with GitHub, for example, I have a work address for my work projects and my personal address for my side projects. So I would put my mail in this repo. For instance, we can and this is the only file in the .git folder that I can allow you to edit. It will not damage the repo. It will only affect the configuration. So if we go to the .git folder, we see we have here a config file. This is the local configuration for this repo. If we edit this config file, we see all the things that is using this repo. And if in here I say I'm going to add a user, a category, and I'm going to say name. I'm going to add my name and email. I'm going to say yeah. So Now let's make a, if we do a git, um, uh, if we now do a git log, we can see here we have my previous email address, here on all the commits. But let's make a little change here. Yeah. A change. And if we do git status, exactly, and I git add readme, instead of adding all the files at once, my preference is to add file by file, and more so chunk by chunk. We're going to go through that also. So I added a readme file, and if I say git, I have an alias git c for git commit. And my alias here, when I do a git commit, shows me the changes that I've done on the file. And I say here, readme change. And I do a git log. You can see here that it shows us the address that I set up for this test project. So that's the way you can have your main your personal address for your side projects and your work address for your work projects. So that's one thing that I like to set up on the local config folder. Questions so far? Please feel free to interrupt me anytime you want with questions.
Yeah, just one thing so everyone knows we are recording this. We're only capturing Andre's screen though, and we'll make this available on YouTube tomorrow.
Okay, so what do we have on the global configuration files? So if I go to my .config and git folder, and I open my configuration. So these are the settings that I like to have for all of my projects. These are my default settings. So I say, okay, when I try to rebase, so it's a way to work. I like to have my default branch as master. It doesn't matter. Some credentials. This, I use NeoBeam. So I added this line that the editor, when I do git commit without any message arguments, it will open NeoBeam. There's a way to make it work with VS Code, but who wants to work with VS Code this time of age? You better work with NeoBeam. And I have some aliases here. So I have CO for git checkout, so I don't have to type git checkout and the name of the branch, just git CO. If I want to list the branches, just BR. And now is what starts to make my workflow better, so I don't need to remember everything. I have the git C is an alias for git commit -b. What does that do? It shows me a diff of what I am about to commit. So I can visualize that I'm not committing anything I don't want. So let's go back here. And if I git add dot and I say git C, you can see here I have a diff that shows me exactly on this file, on this line you've added here. So I can double check what I'm committing. Instead, if I do a git commit without the -b argument, it doesn't show me that information. So that's one thing that I like to use that makes me double check what I'm about to commit. I think sometimes it can be too verbose to work that way, but I do like that level of control. Also, git stick with the -s line. So if I do git status, we have all this information that I really read and really use. What I like to see is just this line here. So git status, the -s flag, that does exactly that. I can see what's exactly being changed. So I made a alias to git st, and I showed me that. So I'm making with this. What I do is make Git work for me. I work a lot with logs, and I have one line and decorate and with different number of rows on the Git log. So if we go to, for example, this project that's the one I've been working on and showcasing, if I do a git l, sorry, of course. Uh, of course, I joined the one that's not correct. So do a git l. I have all of the commits and all the information, and it's very long. Not necessarily much readable, but I don't usually need to see the log too far away. If I can just do a git l3, and it shows me just the last 30 commits. That way, I can see what's been doing, what are the commits, and all the tags that I've been adding. That's a feature that I've been enjoying lately, and I'm going to talk about it later. The git diff, that's another that I am using a lot. And with this flag, word diff. Let's go back here. Okay, if I do a git diff, let's make some more changes. And not in this file because I'm going to uh, in a in, okay, so if I do a git diff right now, you can see we see here this minus is deleting this line, is adding this line, is adding these lines, and I don't find it very readable. If we add the flag, you can see it embeds the change here. So for me, it's more readable of what's actually changing. So that's one thing that I like to do too. So for me, it's more obvious what I am doing. A fetch prune. So if I deleted something in GitHub, when I do a git fetch, it will be deleted on locally. These are for diffing algorithms. I'm not sure what it does, but it's in many places I found it like the recommended the recommended features. This is also a very neat thing that I found. So in last session, we talked that if you do a git push dash dash set upstream, and you will have that, you only have to type git push when you create a new branch. This setting does it for you automatically. So if we go back here, if I create a new branch, git check out of the test branch. I have right now this a new branch freshly created that's not on GitHub. And if I do a git push, no origin and all that stuff, it knew that it had to create that branch on GitHub, and it created on GitHub and it pushed. So that's done with these 3 lines. I will make sure to share on Discord, on the Town Hall chat channel, a link to my GitHub .files repo where these settings are, with this is set up. So you can copy from there if you like anything on my workflow. So that's with setting up, and that's the things I like. I see Alex has a question. Please.
Yeah, on the last example, I saw that I think it said default was equals current, and I'm assuming that means if you don't specify push the default branch, what does it do that is not set?
No, it says by default, use the current branch when you push and set the upstream. Use the same name as the current branch.
What does it do if that is not set? That default equals current is not set.
I've not tested. I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay, because I thought that was the default behavior, but maybe it's just like for safety. I'm not sure. I'm not sure either. So
I'm not sure. This is a setup I found online. It worked this way. I didn't. I haven't tested removing that default current line.
okay.
Okay. So here we see how we can list. One way to add is editing this file and adding everything. The other way is by setting git config, either global or local, and set the alias dot. I think this is more verbose than just editing this git config file. I usually just edit the file. Oh, another thing, when you have a lot of information, as we saw here on when I did a git log here, and we have lots of files, Git uses a pager. A pager, it fills one screen, it stops, it waits for you to press the space, fills the next screen, and so on and so forth. You can use a different pager if you like. So, for example, you can say git l, yeah, but this is a git flag, not a git log flag. So you have to add before the log. No pager. And if I add the L, you see it didn't stop in every screen. It just go all the way through. It can be, or you can pager, or you can set a pager, a core pager for something specific like cat, more, less. It usually use less by default. This one is what I'm somehow new using this, but I found it very interesting to use. Um, so I'm here. I want to search in all of my Git files, but I don't want to search any of the Git ignored files, any of the untracked files. So I can say git grep and add something to grep. For example, in this project, you can say for the word package, and it lists me all the files where the word package is. Or I can say package utils. And so I find it's faster than regular grep, gives me enough information, but I still go back to regrep. That's the one I use by default, where I say it package utils, because here I have the line number where it's specified something. So, but it's good to know that you can also grep all your Git files. So if you have an untracked file, so for example, let's create a new file called and let's okay. So I have, if I do a git status, I have this untracked file test.go, and if I do a on here on the git, if I do a git grep package, I don't see that test file here. But if I do a regrep, it will show what should have showed me. Uh, I don't know why it didn't show me. Of course, on live presentation it doesn't show, but grep will show me even the untracked files. So something good to know, to have in mind. Okay, now we come to a part that I use a lot. So you made a lot of changes in a lot of files, and you don't want to add, for example, a console log. You don't want to add something specific. So let's go here and let's edit some files. I forgot a new comment with description, and here I want to add console log. Okay. Yeah, we save this, and if we go to git status here, we go to git status here. We have some changes. If we do a git diff, we can see some differences. If we do a git add-p, and in this case dot, it doesn't matter, dot or source distance meters. It says, do you want to taste this chunk, or yes, no, quit? I usually I don't want in this case to the console log to be added, so I'm going to say edit. It opens my editor, and now I can edit and remove, for example, the console log from being committed. And it says here, to remove, if I have a deleted line, you have to remove the dash and replace it with a space. And if I don't want to commit a added line, you have just delete that line. So delete that line, and we save and close. If I do a git status now, if you see here, you have the file with both the green and red M. It means that it has some stage changes and some not stage changes. So in git status, you can see here more specific. So that's something you can see here. So now if I commit, I can see here, okay, it's not a commit, it's not the comment here, and I can add a description. Okay. Okay, so that way I can select what lines I want to commit. But you saw here, and we're starting on modifying history right now. If I do git log, git, okay, yeah, I didn't type correctly this. I mistyped. How do I change that commit without making a reset soft and all that stuff? I can do or I can add things to the commit. So, but I can say, and word of caution, this command, never do it on the main branch because it will damage the branch. If I had this branch pushed, I will have to make a push force for it to work right now. After this commit, if I say git commit dash dash amend, and it's not rebasing yet, but it's similar. So I go here and I can add proper spelling and commit again. And if I say git L2, now we have a proper written text. I use this command a lot, this dash dash amend. I should have created an alias by now, but I use this a lot, so because I type fast and I make mistakes. So that way you can change, but it's only for the last commit. It doesn't work amends for previous commits. Okay. This information, there's, I'm not going to make an example, but you can say git commit and trial to give credit to somebody else. If you if you've been helped by for by any miracle Jim help you, then you can add that help by Jim. So it will look something like uh, it, um, let me see. Ah, it will be something like this, that we have this ID. So it's a way to be thankful for the other person and give it credit where credit is due. Uh, Now let's find some bugs. You have your project, you find the bug, but you want to know where the bug was first found. Exactly, Jim. So let's go here, and if I run a PNPM test, we'll see this project has some failing tests. Okay, we have a failing test, but where does this issue originated? Git can help us here. So first we need to do a git git log. So I'm going to do with all the commits here. So this bisect, I as so we need to say git bisect start, and we can pass the good commit and the bad commit. So if we say TLDR git bisect, it says git bisect start. We pass the bad commit and the good commit. So we say git bisect start, and the bad commit is head. A head is the current commit always, so I don't need to go to that hash. And we can go here and copy the initial commit, a commit hash. So I'm saying the very first commit was a good one. It had no mistakes. Not time for introduce any mistakes yet. And now we have an error. So before that, what does a bisect does? So we have our project, and it splits in half. So it divides and conquer. So if this is head, it will go to the middle and check out there. And you will say it's a good or a bad commit. If it's a good commit, it will go to the middle here. If it's a bad here, it will go to the middle here, and so on and so forth until one commit is found, and you can say, okay, this, you can pinpoint that way which one is the bad commit. So even with a huge project, there are not many hops you have to do to find where the problem is. So very fast to do. So with that being said, okay. I have some changes here. Restore. Okay. What it said here, I had some changes. I cannot start the bisect with you having some changes. So let's clear the screen and let's start the bisect. Okay. Now I am in this point of history. So you do a git log. You see, I'm in the middle of the history of this project. So I can do a PMPM test. So it's still failing. So we're going to say git bisect, and I'm going to say this is a bad commit. Okay, it went even back further back. So we got a git L. So we can see the log being shortened. So it goes kind of to the half of it, and we can run PMPM test. No test specified. We're going to assume it's a good commit. Git commit bisect good. Okay, you see here it's saying bisecting 5 revisions left. So it's going forward. PMPM test. We still don't have any test here, so we're going to say git bisect good. PMPM test. Is a good test. So this is a good commit. So we're going to say it's a good commit. Now we're going to see PMPM test. It's still a good commit. Okay. Now we finish all our testing and we find the commit hash that had the problem. It says here, it has this description is this commit hash. I'm going to add, create a new window so we don't lose that hash. Here's the blame. It's me. It's a rare case, just for demo only. I'm going to create a new window. And let's see where we are. So make a git log. And we can see in git, and we can see here in our commit history, it says we need to be in the feature use constants for Celsius conversions. And we're not there. So git bisect so git bisect reset. So let's go back here. I didn't want to lose this commit hash because we're going to check out there. Git checkout. I just copy and paste the commit hash. So we can see here, and we can see on the git log, we can see, let's open lazy git. If I go back down here, we can see exactly what's been changed on this file. And we see that we have this, what's been changed here. And in the constants file, we have that I copied the formula wrong, and that's what is causing the problem. So how to fix this? Let me see. Okay, so there are two ways of fixing the bug. First scenario, this is already on your main branch or on your development branch, a branch that is shared with more than one person. Then what you have to do is create a new commit from the latest commit and fix the bug. That's what you should do. If you haven't pushed the branch, or it's in a feature branch that you haven't shared with your team, you can rebase. So let's rebase. Since we want to rebase, and we know what we have all the information right now. So if take out, so we don't have any problems. So where to rebase? It says it was the feature use constants for successful conversion. This one is the commit that had the error. Where do we rebase so we can fix the error in the time it was caused? At least you have to at least go to the previous commit. So we have to do git rebase, and here you have to pass the -i flag. It's going to be an interactive rebase, and we are going to go. We cannot pass this one because we will not be able to edit. We have to at least pass the one before. Let's pass this one, and let's paste that here. So we have this window, and here we have some help on the lower part. So it says it's rebasing for the last 27 commands. If we want to use the commit, we use pick. If we want to reward the commit, we say reward it. If we want to edit it. So we want to edit files. You add the edit commit. So let's go back, and we want to edit this commit. You saw one thing to notice. It's from at the top is the oldest commit, and the bottom is the newest commit. And I chose two commits before, and it didn't show the first commit I chose. So that's why you have to at least pick the one before. If you want to squash commits, what squash? So I have multiple commits that they are not used in, for example, a work in progress commit, and you want to clean that. You can merge all those work in progress commits into just one commit. So I changed here to edit, so we can edit here the commit, and let's say here, I'm going to watch this. I'll watch this. I'm not sure if I need to add the last squash but. And what I do, I save and quit. Okay. Now we are on the commit we said we want to edit. If you see here, stopped at this hash, fetch user constant for Celsius. If I've done modular atomic commits, it will be it will be easy to find what's changed here. So if I go to lazy git and go back here and go back here and find the commit here, I can see what files have been changed and what not. And I can see that what I changed, and I can go exactly to that file, and I don't have to start looking around. So that's one of the importance of doing small atomic commits. So here I can say it's on the, what's the file, on the source text.js, and in the source constant.js. And here using the git diff as a tool, we can see that here is the error. So let's go to that file and fix it. So I go to the constants files, and I say, yeah, 5 divided by 9. And if we save this, and let's make sure everything is correct. All the test has been passed, the bug has been fixed. So here it says, okay, I stop here. You can amend, I can either amend the commit or make a new commit and continue. I'm going to amend the commit, so I'm going to say git commit git status. We have the change. We have to add this change. I just want to add this here, and we're going to commit. Okay. No, I didn't want to commit. I want to git commit amend. I am going to use the same commit. I'm going to commit here. Okay. And now I'm satisfied with the changes and say git rebase continue. Now it stopped where I said I want to merge those two last commits into one. So I can say readme changes washed. Okay. Let's save this and do a git log. So as you see, it finished the rebase, and I'm finally back on that temperature range. It means everything went perfectly. You can, with rebase, you can have something like this that went without any issues, but you can have conflicts. And how you resolve the conflict one by one, as Jim showed us last week. So that's something to have in mind. You can have that too. You may have some conflicts. So if we do a git log, I added here and it merged all those commits together. So any questions so far? Hey, this is something I've been using a lot lately. As you saw, when I wanted to rebase, I couldn't rebase the commit I selected. So to do something about that, there's an option in Git that you can commit you can do an empty commit with no files, with no information. So if we go back here, okay, let's create a new repo. Okay, and let's do a git init. It created a new empty repo. What I always do at this stage is say git commit allow empty. And this is going to be my initial commit. So if I do a git log, I have my initial commit, and whatever I create, I can go back even further before adding any files. So if I have to rebase the first commit, I can. Something I've been doing a lot lately. What I use this also, and I used that before I found this, the next command that I'm going to show you, is I use this to flag that I have a good commit here. So I would create a new commit, an empty commit saying, oh, this is it. All testers are green, so this is always a good commit. So if I need to rebase, I don't need to go that back. So now that we create, let's do that here on our presentation. We have here, and we can add a git tag. Don't use spaces here and your tag description, because it may, I think it will think it's two tags instead of just one. So rebase fix. So if I do this, I do a git tab rebase fix, and I do git, and you see here it tagged, it added this tag here, and it's also a commitish, and I can check out there. So let's create a new commit here just to test that. So testing that. Okay, so git. If I commit with a -a, I don't need to add. It will add every file that has been modified. So testing full process. Okay, I do here. I can do right now. I can do a git checkout to rebase fix, and if I do git to show you, and my head is on the rebase fix tag. So it's a good way to flag whatever changes you've made. If I'm going to go to this project, if I do git L3, you can see I've been tagging a lot here. So I finished this here, I tag this, I finished the status bar, I finished the text viewer. So I know where the possible issues can go. If I find, for example, something on the status bar later, I know where to find. Questions, anything? Okay. Now let's talk about merging strategies. When you do a PR, you can have multiple merging strategies to work with. Let's understand those three ways. Okay, Snowbites. I didn't mention FixUp. I haven't used FixUp, so if you want to elaborate, please. Well, you type, I'm going to continue. So the first way is the default way. That's the three-way merge that we all know. So we have our commit history. We create a feature branch. We make some commits on the feature branch, and when we merge it to the main branch, it creates a new commit, and with all the changes in the feature branch in the main branch. That's what the three-way merge, and we have the history of this tree-like form. So that's why it's called a Git tree, because it starts to look like a tree when you add more branches and more branches inside of another branch, and it can go very complex. So that's the three-way merge. The rebase merge. You have your main branch, you create the feature branch, but what it does, it picks all the branches, all the commits exactly as you have them, and puts them following the main branch. You can still have the feature branch, but all the commits one by one were applied to the main branch. Okay, Snowbite says he asked for the fix app in the rebase. It's just like a squash, but it discards the squash commit messages, keeps the older commits. Okay, I haven't used that. I can see the benefit of that. Okay, so this rebase merge is something that I've been using a lot lately. I like to have this history, this linear history on my Git. So if we go back here, if you can see if I see my commits, I've been working on different branches, but when it goes to the main branch, it's just one continuous history. You'll not see, oh, I created this branch, and go on and whatnot. I still created several branches. So I think for me, it keeps the history as it's done. Yeah, and when you merge from multiple people, you can still have this rebase feature. And I think for me, it's better. So that's the rebase merge. And the last, and that so the three-way, we see the rebase we saw, and the squash merge is another way of merging. So you have your main branch, you create your feature branch, and when you merge, it for it doesn't add a new commit after, as you saw here on the three-way merge. This commit has two parents, the one in the main branch and the one on the feature branch. What what merge does, it squashes all the commits on the feature branch into one, and it only has one parent, this commit. It still has all the changes, but in just one commit. Um, what one of the benefits of this is that you don't have a very big commit history, because and you have on your commit history, you have, okay, feature one, feature two, feature three, etc., and not all the steps for the to achieve that feature. I personally don't like that. I like to have my history complete because it's easier to find any issues. So that's why I like using rebase overall. So, and okay, we don't have much time to go through work trees, but that's another interesting thing. Here are some resources. I'm going to post this the link to this presentation. That's a markdown file on the town hall chat. So, any questions? Anything you want to add? Jim says, I've seen new projects start with a squash. Use rebase during the project to preserve the history. I'm not sure I understand you, Jim.
Yeah, when a new project starts, like an enhancement of an existing code base, they start with a squash to basically reclaim space in the history, but then they don't do a squash after that. For the duration of that enhancement, they use rebase because they want the message, or the history, in order to troubleshoot.
Okay, I see that. I can see that. I think it's interesting that especially if you create a new repo with that feature branch, with that enhancement, I see lots of benefits with that. Any other questions? Did I confuse you too much? Yes, the add-p is it's a game changer for me. It's another step of reviewing my changes before committing those. Anything else? Hey. Okay. If there's no more questions, I'll give one last call for if you have any questions about the voyages or whatnot before closing this roundtable. Okay, so thank you all for being here, and I will share the. Did you stop having roundtables for Voyage Q&A? We always have space on the right roundtables. If you have any questions on the voyage, we can schedule a Q&A for the voyage. I think it can be useful. Okay, SR, I'm glad that helped you. So if there's nothing more, thank you for your time, and we'll see you in the next roundtable. Bye, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you, Andres. Thanks, everyone. And we'll definitely look at scheduling a roundtable, just a general voyage question and answer session. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. See you
Okay.
next time. Thanks, Andres.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Okay, that's done.